match that we all want to see is him and Brock Lesnar. I think that, I mean, I'm not as big a wrestling fan as I used to be, but as an outsider as I am now, I would love to see that match. But to me, I think it has to be for a title. To me, that would be what I want to see. Not just a singles match, have to be for a belt, in my opinion.
They've already had a match for the title, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, they've already had it. Yeah. And Lesnar basically destroyed him. I'll give you a great example. Do you remember Crown Jewel last year?
Yes, I do. Yep.
That's where they had, and then that was when Roman announced he had to relinquish the Universal title because of leukemia.
Right. Leukemia. Yep.
The Universal title match at Crown Jewel was Lesnar versus Strowman for the title.
Gotcha. Okay. They've already had that. Match. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. The next one, Bayley beat Charlotte Flair. Do you see? I know they've been talking about the women's division with Bayley, Charlotte, Becky, and I can't think of her name now. Oh, there you go. Yes. Sasha Banks. Do you see those four kind of being on top of the women's division for the foreseeable future?
At this point, I can't see anybody else who they would really push. Because let's be honest, you look at the Raw women's division, you look at the SmackDown women's division. Other than Charlotte, Bayley, Sasha, and Becky, what other women are they really pushing? Go down the list. Asuka, who should be in that category,
I was gonna say her. Yeah.
Is being put into a tag team with Kairi Sane, who are then running after the 24/7 title, as we saw on SmackDown this past week. Look at somebody like Lacey Evans. Yes, she's talented, but I think they gave her the rocket way too early. So I think they kind of are right now because of the fact, like I said before, they're really not pushing anybody to get to that top level of the women's division.
Okay. So you can basically say in a way that they're the four horsemen in a way to say that those are the four that everyone's looking for in the women's division.
Yeah, well they are touted as the four horsewomen.
Okay. Yeah.
They had that even back in their NXT days.
The next one, I have is a SmackDown Tag Team Champs, and it says the reveal defeat of the New Day. Is it safe to say that the New Day is kind of falling apart now that Kofi's the champ, or are they going to still continue that, what they've been doing? Because I know they've been a big part of the group since they came out a long time ago. So do you see them starting to come unraveled because Kofi's the champ, or no? Okay.
No, because for one reason and one reason only. They are making too much money for Vince McMahon.
Okay.
They don't. What I could see happen down the road is all of a sudden, because it's expected. I don't know if you saw SmackDown this past week, but Brock Lesnar is challenging Kofi for the title when they move over to Fox next Friday.
Right.
From what I read, it's expected that Kofi is going to drop the belt to Lesnar. Now, I don't know if that's going to lead to Big E and Xavier turning on Kofi. I don't think so, but I've said for a while I would love for it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not going to happen realistically because, like I said before, they make too much money for the company.
Okay. So you could still see them being still the three that they've been since they came out. Okay.
Yeah, well, they also said a while back, they said they want to keep the New Day around long enough to have the most reigns of tag team champions.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Okay.
Not saying that they're going to go after, Road Warrior, Animal, and Hawk. I don't think they're going to touch those numbers, but they want them to basically overtake guys like the Hardys, Edge and Christian, the Dudleys, like those.
The Hardy Boys, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm talking more like Attitude Era.
Okay. And then they, the next one, is the women's tag team titles, and that was Alexa Bliss. So she's back, and Nikki Cross defeat Fire and Desire. Is that? Did I say that right?
That's Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville.
Okay.
As far as my thoughts on that, I think they should abolish the women's tag titles at this point. they've been nothing but a joke. And not saying that the women don't deserve it. I don't want people to think that, because I think they 100% deserve it. They have really changed it. But the problem is the way they presented it, I thought was done poorly. If I was presenting them, I would not have done it at Elimination Chamber. I would have had like a tournament. I would have started a tournament maybe late February, early March, had the finals at WrestleMania. At
WrestleMania. Yeah, absolutely.
At least build it up to something. Because the way they did it when they had Sasha and Bayley win it at Elimination Chamber, then they had the Iconics win it at Mania, and then the Iconics barely defended it for a couple of months. It's pretty much, it's my same argument I make with Brock Lesnar holding the Universal title. I thought he killed the credibility.
Right.
I'll say this right now. I think Billy, don't get me wrong, Billy Kay and Peyton Royce are talented in the ring. But when they had the tag team titles, they killed all value in that belt.
So then the next one, but you were talking about it earlier, was the Intercontinental Champion, Sasuke, and he defeated The Miz. So Nakamura. What are your thoughts on that?
I was kind of surprised. I really figured knowing how petty the WWE is, I figured they would have wanted The Miz to win, so then they can write Chris Jericho off as the most holding the title for the most amount of times, being that he is now the AEW champion. I'm kind of surprised because Nakamura, to me, has been one of the worst IC champions they've had in years. Because I feel like he's done nothing. And the fact that Sami Zayn is his quote-unquote mouthpiece, yes, Sami Zayn is one of the best people they have on the mic, but not in the position he's in. So I think this was one of the things I was going to give. I would have put the title back on Miz. Because you look back at any of the Miz's runs, or when you think of the IC belt in recent memory, you think of the Miz.
Right. Yes. Absolutely.
Especially when he had the run after WrestleMania 32, the night when he beat Zack Ryder for it, and he had that run of, look, I have the belt, I have the girl, because that's when Maurice came back into the picture.
Correct.
That was some of the best stuff I've ever seen.
I mean, do you think, John, that Nakamura is being do you think he's not being signed the right way, or being that you said that he's one of the worst IC champions that on book for a while? Do you think that he should be doing more or something different? Maybe they should be writing something different on him. How do you feel about that?
Honestly, they booked him like crap. If I'm being completely honest, they booked him when he was in NXT. He was one of the top guys in NXT. But you remember, like you were asking me before, I forgot which NXT guy you were talking about earlier.
Braun Strowman.
Braun Strowman. It's the same case. Nakamura was in NXT. All of a sudden, he comes to the main roster, and I think when they should have pulled the trigger on Nakamura was when he had the match with Styles for the title at WrestleMania.
Right. I remember that.
That's the moment right there. But unfortunately, Vince McMahon doesn't want to put the title on him for whatever reason. And I mean, if you ever get a chance, Bradley, take a look at what Shinsuke Nakamura did in New Japan when he was the IWGP Intercontinental Champion. You'll see night and day difference.
Okay, I'll take a look. I'll YouTube that. I definitely will take a look. Yeah.
You'll see a night and day difference.
Well, and I remember, John, when they brought him in, that was the big talk. They went out, WWE got, one of the biggest stars in New Japan, and he was supposed to come here. So again, I didn't get a chance to see his matches in New Japan, but I definitely will go back and take a look. And take a look, and like you said, if it's night and day, then obviously he is being booked incorrectly. And again, it seems like to me that Triple H cares more about NXT than Vince does, and I know that Vince isn't as much over it as he used to be, but he still has his hand in it, nevertheless, because I know within, we're September, we're about 4, 5, 6 months away from the XFL starting up, and that's Vince's, new work. I can't wait because hopefully we'll get credentials to see the Vipers here in Tampa. But I mean, that's going to be his thing now, will be the XFL. But really, I mean, if he's going to turn it all over to Triple H, they're going to have to book some of these guys a little bit better than they're being booked now. I think I know, the fans that have been WWE fans since the WWF or WCW, thinking back that far, they're going to be fans forever. What you're trying to do, as with everything, is you're trying to draw in new people. But if you're booking their favorite wrestlers, we'll say, incorrectly, you're going to scare them away. Well, I'm not going to watch that because it's crappy,
But I'll be honest with you. The issue now that WWE has, I know we're talking about Clash of Champions, so I'm just going to make this point, though. The issue that WWE has now is there's that 3-letter promotion started up next Wednesday called AEW.
Yep.
That has really, if you want, we can get into it a little bit later, but they have really put a scare into Vince McMahon. So the fact that they haven't booked a lot of these guys properly only means that the fans who have been there since the Attitude Era are going to drift away to AEW.
Right. That's true. Now he has some competition. I think he had competition with WCW, but then that went under, and he bought them up and then took the competition away.
He hasn't had true competition, since the late 90s. And I know everybody says, oh, but you have Impact Wrestling, you have New Japan. They never, since you look at New Japan, Ring of Honor, or Impact Wrestling, none of them have held a candle to what WCW did and what AEW is probably going to do in a week's time.
Correct. I agree with you. I agree with you on that one. I definitely agree with that. I agree that definitely has put some kind of scare into him. I think it might be a wake-up call. I think he's seeing a lot of his stars leave. Like, for example, Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley, whatever you want to call him. He's there now. Cody Rhodes is over there now. Chris Jericho's another one that went over there. I've heard, rumors about Lana and Rusev possibly going over there. So, I mean, there's been rumors about a lot of the stars that are currently in WWE that are going to leave and go to AEW. So, yeah, Vince needs to watch out because he's got competition again.
Well, I mean, I can go into a whole thing on this. Unfortunately, they're not going to let anybody go at this point because of the fact of they don't want somebody like a Rusev or somebody like a Mike Bennett, for example, to pull a Dean Ambrose move or pull a Chris Jericho move. They don't want it anymore. So like they're giving 5-year contracts to everybody now.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, let's get to Clash of Champions because I actually have an interesting take on the main event.
The next one, Bud, I have would be the Raw Women's Championship, and that's Banks defeating Lynch via disqualification. Do you see those two now going after each other, kind of like what Lynch did with Charlotte Flair? Do you see that kind of thing with Banks now?
Yes, because if not for nothing, it's going to elevate Becky. Because let's be honest, Becky had a lot of momentum coming out of WrestleMania. But when they put her first feud against Lacey Evans, it killed a lot of her momentum.
Okay.
I don't know if we're going to get to the same level with Becky and Sasha like we did with Charlotte and Becky last year.
Mm-hmm.
But I see that, I know they're going to have a match with Hell in a Cell inside Hell in a Cell next Sunday. So I expect it to be, but yeah, I think they're going to go after each other because they're former friends turned into enemies. And as we've seen, the WWE does one thing well, and I usually complain about them a lot, but the one thing they do pretty well in is doing the storylines where, former friends turn into enemies.
Right.
And there's a lot of examples about that.
Mm-hmm. The next one, Bud, would be the WWE Championship, and that was Kingston defeating Randy Orton. How'd you feel about that match?
I'm not surprised. I figured this was more just to prolong the inevitable. that Lesnar taking the belt off of Kingston. As much as I would have loved for it to be